Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I have some breaking news coming out here and I don't think you're going to believe this. So we've got Vladimir Putin right now visiting Belarus. Here's him in the video hopping off his jet and meeting with Lukashenko, the president of Belarus. So he's over there right now discussing tactical nuclear weapons drills that they're doing in Russia, also preparing Belarus for any potential conflict with NATO or any other nations that get involved with this war in Ukraine. And while he's here, we've got reports coming out as of today that Vladimir Putin is ready to halt the war in Ukraine with a negotiated ceasefire that recognizes the current battlefield lines, saying he is prepared to fight on if Kiev and the West do not respond. Now, this is absolutely huge. Okay, I was not expecting this. I wouldn't ever expect Vladimir Putin to want to call for a ceasefire in this war. Yet, I will say, though, there is a few times where he has said in the past, I believe it was during the interview with Tucker Carlson a few months back, where he did state there that they have tried to reach out to the West multiple times and Ukraine and say, hey, let's come to a negotiated agreement, and the West would usually decline. Okay, apparently that happened at one point. So I won't say for sure that they've never really tried to negotiate anything, but it hasn't been what I've seen Vladimir Putin wanting to do. This doesn't really add up to me because he'll smash cities in Ukraine, just completely obliterate them, pounding Kharkiv. I just did a video yesterday on that. Kharkiv coming under attack and getting hit by multiple missiles just doesn't seem to add up sometimes with what we're seeing on these attacks. And then obviously they're trying to go for Kharkiv right now too. So I don't know. I don't know if this is a kind of like a truce where they're like, you know what, maybe we don't have the ability to take as much land in Ukraine as we thought we did. Maybe Kharkiv was going to be the last ditch effort to make this happen, to see if they could form some sort of offensive and take over some land. But from what we've been hearing, the Ukrainians are holding them back pretty well. Okay, it's not perfect, but they are holding them back. And I don't know if maybe this is just something Putin is realizing that they just cannot complete this war effort anymore, and maybe they've got to pull out of this. But we're going to talk about a few things regarding this today. So I've got an article here. This is on Reuters. It says exclusive. Putin wants Ukraine ceasefire on current front lines. This just coming out today. It says 1 hour ago, so May 24, 2024. And it says here, Russian President Vladimir Putin is ready to halt the war in Ukraine with a negotiated ceasefire that recognizes the current battlefield lines. 4 Russian sources told Reuters, saying he is prepared to fight on if Kiev and the West do not respond. 3 of the sources familiar with discussions in Putin's entourage said a veteran Russian leader had expressed frustration to a small group of advisors about what he views as Western-backed attempts to stymie negotiations and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky's decision to rule out talks. Putin can fight on for as long as it takes, but Putin is also ready for a ceasefire to freeze the war, said another of the four, a senior Russian source who has worked with Putin and has a knowledge of top-level conversations in the Kremlin. He, like others cited in the story, spoke on condition of anonymity given the matter's sensitivity. For this account, Reuters spoke to a total of 5 people who work with or have worked with Putin at a senior level in the political and business worlds. The 5th source did not comment on freezing the war at the current front lines. So that's something too, apparently, is he wants to freeze the war at the current front lines. Where the front lines are drawn at right now, they'll just freeze it. They'll withdraw their troops, come back to Russia. Maybe some of them might stay in those regions that have been taken in Ukraine. But Russia's not willing to give up this land in Ukraine that they've already taken. Now, I don't see Vladimir Zelensky being okay with that. And also, we had reports coming out just the other day. I think it was from Secretary of State Antony Blinken. He did a speech in Kiev while he was visiting over there. And while he was there, he mentioned that the Ukrainians would not hold any elections until all of the land was restored back to the Ukrainian people. So that means there's going to be no elections, okay? We just heard, it was just yesterday, I believe, or the day before, that Vladimir Zelensky his term was over. But it got re-extended again because they're not holding elections over there in Ukraine right now due to this war. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting what we're seeing here, and we'll have to see how this plays out. Whether the West actually accepts any kind of a ceasefire. I just don't see that happening too, because they just spent 60 billion on Ukraine right now, giving them all kinds of aid, and the West has been very adamant on wanting to push Russia back out of Ukraine, not just let them take the land that they have. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe the U.S. will do a complete 180 here. Asked about the Reuters report at a news conference in Belarus on Friday, Putin said peace talks should restart. Let them resume, he said, adding that negotiations should be based on the realities on the ground and on a plan agreed during a previous attempt to reach a deal, excuse me, in the first weeks of the war, not on the basis of what one side wants, he said. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said on X that the Russian leader was trying to derail a Ukrainian-initiated peace summit in Switzerland next month by using his entourage to send out phony signals about his alleged readiness to halt the war. So yeah, there is a peace summit coming up in Switzerland next month that I've been hearing about. I think Vladimir Zelensky will be heading over there with Dmytro Kuleba, the foreign minister. And I don't know. We're going to have to really see what happens here. This is very interesting, this information coming out today. And I just can't believe it that they're even talking about this. Putin currently has no desire to end his aggression in Ukraine, against Ukraine. Only the principled and united voice of the global majority can force him to choose peace over war, said Kuleba. Mikhailo Podolyak, a Ukrainian presidential advisor, said Putin wanted Western democracies to accept defeat. So something I wanted to note here too is that, do you all remember I just reported in the last week or so, something like that, that Sergei Shoigu was taken out of his position as defense minister of Russia. Now he was mostly demoted. He wasn't really like fired or anything like that. It was kind of a demotion. He was put to some other national security position or something like that. And we got a new defense minister now named Andrei Belousov. This name right here. Okay. So Andrei Belousov is an economist. He's not exactly a military type of defense minister. He's more of an economist. Now, this would kind of make sense to me if Putin were to put an economist in position of defense minister now, because I was wondering, why would you put somebody that's an economist in position of defense when that should be more of a military style role, wouldn't it be? At least to my understanding. And I don't know, maybe he elected him and put him in this position because they know that when this war ends, they're going to have a lot of economic issues. I would think so. Because they've spent a lot of money on this war. They're continuing to spend tons and tons of money every single day just to upkeep this war, and it's got to be putting a heavy strain on their economy. And at some point, they've got to stop. Okay, they can't just keep going forever, especially when Ukraine has been hammering their oil and gas industry like crazy with drone attacks. So I don't know. I thought about that, and I was like, maybe that's the reason why he put this guy in, this economist, Andrei Belousov, is because they're going to have to reshape and reform their economy once this war ends, okay? Because their economy has just taken such a hit, due to this war. So I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. But again, this is pretty big news. So yeah, Putin visiting Belarus and announcing willingness for a ceasefire in the Ukrainian conflict. But what he wants is to freeze the front line. Okay, he's not willing to seize or to give up the land that they've already previously taken from Ukraine. That includes Crimea and the Donetsk region, Donbass. I would even think these towns over here next to Kharkiv, they probably wouldn't even want to give it up. So very strange that we're seeing this, but interesting development at the same time. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. Share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions down in the comment section. That's going to be it for this update. If you get something out of this update, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.